In a rare case, a horse named Justice is suing his former owner for extreme neglect. This photo, taken last March when he was rescued, shows Justice emaciated, suffering from frostbite, lice, and rain rot. And now the Animal Legal Defense Fund is representing Justice in the groundbreaking lawsuit. Justice's lawyer and the director of litigation at the Animal Legal Defense Fund, Matthew Liebman, joins me now from El Cerrito, California. Mr. Liebman, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Talk strategy with me, because there have been only a few cases where an animal has been listed as a plaintiff in a lawsuit. None of them have been successful. So why go down this route? Was this the only avenue available to you? Are you hopeful it's successful? Why go this way?
Yeah, so it's a combination of reasons, and I think the most significant is that this case occurred in Oregon, where there's been a real recognition by the Oregon Supreme Court that animals are more than just mere property, as they've been considered under the law for a long time. There have been cases that have established that animals should properly be considered the actual victims of animal cruelty crimes, and we know that when someone is the victim of a crime, they can sue the person that's injured them in civil court for remedies, and so that's exactly what we're pursuing here.
Last year, Justice's owner was found was prosecuted criminally and agreed to pay restitution for the costs of Justice's care only up to June. Now, if you're successful in this new lawsuit, the owner would be prosecuted and sued for $100,000. What are you hoping that money would go towards if you are successful?
Well, we've set aside a trust on Justice's behalf, so any money that's recovered in the lawsuit would go directly to his well-being, and that trust ensures that he has the kind of veterinary care that he'll require. As you mentioned, when he was rescued, he had he was severely undernourished and has injuries that will really be expensive to care for the rest of his life, and we want to make sure that he has the resources available to make sure he comes back to health.
People are using the words landmark and seminal when talking about this course of action. If you are successful, how do you hope this changes the legal framework for animals?
Well, no court has ever held that animals have the right to sue their abusers in court. We already know that animals have certain protectable legal rights. There are anti-cruelty laws that prohibit them from being treated in particular ways. This would just be an extension of that and recognize that not only are animals protected under law, but they have the ability to bring lawsuits on their own behalf. And that would really transform the paradigm in ways that shifts them away from property as the law considers them to sentient beings, which those of us who share our lives with animals already know them to be.
Since Justice's rescue last year, how is he doing? How's his recovery coming?
He's doing well. So some of the things that he was suffering from were fixed with a lot of love and care. So he was 300 pounds underweight. He's been fed back up to weight. The bacterial infections have been resolved, but unfortunately, that frostbite that you mentioned caused lasting and permanent damage. So in some senses, he'll never come back to normal, but he is doing so much better than he was when he was under the care of the defendant. I
would like to ask you again, you referred to this notion of sentient beings, and I've read that this is, I mean, that's not new. It's new in North America, but I believe some European countries have gotten around to recognizing certain animals as sentient beings. So talk to me a little bit about the lay of the land elsewhere.
Yeah, and in many ways, other countries have been much more progressive on this issue than the United States and Canada. For example, there have been animals have been written into the constitutions in countries like Germany, in Switzerland. They've been protected in lawsuits in other countries as well. So this is not unprecedented, but it's never happened in North America. And so we're hopeful that the tide has turned enough to recognize that animals' legal status should be transformed in the way that we're seeking in this lawsuit.
Well, Matthew, thanks so much for sharing your story with us this morning. We appreciate it, and best of luck to you and Justice.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.